to the positive chat experience for your view and your viewers. Choose who can participate. Set a delay. Kiss my ass. So, I'm going to tell my personal experience with this person, Brian Mullin, and hopefully it sparks a conversation that maybe other people can relate to or whatever, and we can find out what happened, because it doesn't seem like anybody's actually talking about this guy. And as far as the here we go, as far as the flat earth goes, I don't like that term, because it provides people who are looking for an easy way out. There's a pancake. No, I always prefer the earth shape argument. That's what I refer to it as, the earth shape argument. So as far as the earth shape argument goes, Brian Mullin, I think Dubé's up there. Like, there's very few. Eric Dubé. I fell down that hole because of Sergeant Mark Sargent. I don't know. Maybe he's. I don't know any of these guys personally. I do. I have a story with just about all of them, that I've talked to all of them and whatnot. But like, it's strange how the discussion, the topic, just bringing it up, brings out so much anger and hatred in so many people. Like, why is it people questioning this particular issue? Why does it make you mad? Why can't you just have a normal conversation about it? If I'm wrong, then you are at the advantage, and you should have a smug sense about you, but a calmness. And instead, it always turns into anger, name calling, venom just being spewed. And it's like, dude, it's just a difference of an opinion. And it's not like, at the end of the day, I can't attribute any mass shootings or horrendous crimes or racist stuff or child stuff. The church is much worse than anything that, and I can show you multiple of those same things, child rape and all these things that are associated with the church, but not with with people who are very religious and whatnot. There's no flat earther out there that did any of those things. So it's strange how it sponsors such violence. It makes people so angry, and I don't understand it. And I would hope, if you're gonna watch this video, and I know there's gonna be a lot of trolls that watch the video and will have nothing but things to say that prove me right. But I encourage you to put down all your preconceived stuff and just try to. This video is not about the earth shape. It is to some extent, but it's much more about a human being, a missing person, somebody that it's one of our brothers and sisters. Well, one of our brothers, but it's this is supposedly somebody's child, somebody's husband, somebody's father, and they're missing. And just like McTavish's wife, who's been missing for a very long time, no one seems to be talking about it. Well, people are talking about it, but like, the system doesn't seem to, like, if somebody were to call the police and say my kid was missing, hasn't been seen in a few days, they would come to my house and do a wellness check. Just that simple. And if I was like, I'm not showing you nothing, I'm blah blah blah, it would be an issue. But Brian Mullin. So I stumbled across Brian Mullin, I think around January of 2016. I had recently, you know, been hurt at work, and because I was hurt at work, and I thought I was going back to work. I knew I had some time off. I didn't know how permanent things were. But I didn't sit around and play video games. I couldn't. My arm's fucked up. But I watched a lot of, I grew my mind. And I stumbled across the earth-shape argument, and I, arrogantly believing I'm smarter than most people, went into it thinking I could debunk it, and I couldn't, and it started me on a different journey. And around January, I stumbled across Balls Out Physics with Brian Mullin. And at the time, there were Balls Out Physics 1, 2, and 3, and then his appearance on a podcast was available. The podcast was Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes podcast. And so I had actually had some experience with the Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes podcast because of our song Under the Dome. You can easily hear it and download it for free at www.the-bilderberg-group.com. But I had sent her that track, and she dug it, played it a couple times, whatever. So I had at least somewhat of an in. I had already talked to her. We had conversation. We had through Messenger and whatnot, so it wouldn't be weird if I reached out to her. But when I find something, like I say it all the time, truth is sexy. Not that you want to have sex with it, but it's so attractive to you. It's hard to walk away from sometimes. And when I stumble across some truth, I just try to eat that up as much as I can. And when I fell on Brian Mullin's videos, it was completely different. And I'm not discounting the other people who make, the 200 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Ball is one of the greatest videos available on YouTube. Under the Dome, Sergeant Mark Sargent, his videos were good. I can't say Sergeant Mark Sargent because I don't know. I'm being facetious, I guess, and that's not really fair. But I was already sort of versed in that community, and I'm not discounting those guys' videos, but Brian brought an element of professionalism to the videos that was sort of like Brian was this nerd. Right, he was a structural engineer who had a job in architect. He was an architect, and they built structures and shit. I guess I don't know, but he, hello watcher. He worked at this company in Florida, I guess, and he had stumbled across the earth-shape argument, and again, being somebody who was really smart, especially in a particular field, he figured he could debunk it. So he started trying to, and all of a sudden he couldn't. So he decided to put out the Balls Out Physics series. Now, another thing that was different, unique, was that he would stand in front of a dry erase board with a marker and his camera. There's nobody else there, I'm assuming, in the basement somewhere, and he would just make his points and illustrate his points. He was very articulate and very relatable, and he made really easily understood videos. Like, he spoke to the layman in the most intelligent way possible. And he has the credentials. He was the guy that could say, look, I'm smart. I'm in this field of building bridges across large land masses and whatnot. This is my passion. And when I went to look into how they account for the curvature of the earth when building or building bridges or railroad tracks or whatever, they don't. And I found that strange. So he makes the first 3 videos, and I watch all 3. He makes the first 3 videos somewhere within maybe 3 or 4 months before I saw them. And they only had like 20, 25,000, 30,000 views maybe at the time. Maybe, I don't even know. He hadn't quite blown up yet. And I always say, like, I'm the common man, right? I may be a little bit ahead of the common man and when it comes to certain conspiracies, but I'm not a computer guy by any means. So by the time it gets to me, it's available to everybody else. So I assume about the time I stumbled across him is about when everybody else did, thanks to YouTube, because YouTube is probably the reason why. YouTube suggested I watch this guy. Which it did that to, I'm sure to everybody else, which is one of those things you have to look back in hindsight and go, But I reached out to him through Facebook after watching the first 3 videos and watching the podcast. Sent him a Facebook request and sent him a message. And didn't hear from him. And I started to, I wanted more. And I was wondering, what's going on? This guy, like, as a fellow content creator like myself. I hate that term. But as somebody that does that, you don't make videos that are getting views. Like his are starting to get views. And people like me are reaching. You don't get that and ignore it. You're making those videos so people can pay attention, and you want people to, the more people to see your videos, the better. So, I'm just looking and I'm like, man, he hasn't been active since the 3rd video. I'm pretty sure he was on the podcast after the 2nd video. I could be wrong, but. And so I just thought it'd been, because it was at least a month since anything had happened. And so I was like, let's try to figure it out. I reached out to the Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes chick who, who knows? But I asked her, hey, that Brian Mullin guy, I don't know if you noticed, but he's sort of disappeared. I hope he's okay. It was basically one of those, like, I hope he's okay. I know the world that we're in. I know if you start saying too much and you get too big, you Brian Mullin happens to you. So I reached, and I'm wondering, like, is he okay? Maybe do you have a way to contact him? Because I reached out through Facebook and I've left lots of comments, and he doesn't seem to respond to anyone's comments or anything. He seems like he's not available. He's gone. And instead of showing any concern, this is where it's weird. Instead of being like, it's kind of weird, I'll look into it. She was like, no, I'm sure he's fine. Like, go back to sleep, you dumb goyim. And so she was like, yeah, I'll reach out, but, I'm sure he's fine. Don't worry about it. So either later that day or the next day, my friend request is accepted and a message from him comes through, and him and I have a conversation, and we talk about a lot. I send him my stuff, and he said he dug it, and whatever. We talk periodically, and he says he's got this another new video dropping, Balls Out 4, and I just can't wait, man. I'm so excited. Again, the way that he's so relatable. His voice is soothing, and it's no flashiness. It's just a dry erase board. It's just really done well. And he puts out 4, and it's weird because there's this hiatus, right? There's always these hiatuses. Putin had a few month hiatus a couple of years back where nobody knew where the prime minister was for a few months. You know, the tremendous hiatus and then the reappearance. You know, John Kerry, who was killed in an ambush, had this hiatus, came back looking younger. Hillary Clinton, killed in a plane crash, had a hiatus, came back looking younger. Like, these things exist. You can hate me all you want. You can hate that, but the information is there. These people, they disappear for a while, and they come back, and things are a little different. So Brian comes back, and towards the end of Balls Out 4, he says something about all of the answers that we see, or like he was raised a Christian, a Catholic growing up, and he had gotten away from it, but recently he's been looking into it again, and he's starting to think maybe there's something to it. Like he plants that first seed that, and I was like, oh no, what do you, no. The reason I liked your videos so much is there was none of that. It was just like boring, straightforward, let's just crunch the numbers videos. So don't go screwing that up. So he makes another, you know, and I reach out, like, what's going on? You know, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And he's, I don't know, man, blah, blah. You know, I'm trying not to scare him away because I know what it's like to talk to Christians, religious people. You have to have blind faith in what they say or they get really upset with you. So you know, we talk some more. And at one point I say to him, you know, how come you never see a camera on the top of the rocket? Because this is right after that, maybe it wasn't right after, but it was after that rocket the amateur rocket had supposedly gotten shot up and hit the thing, boom, and suddenly stops, and then just starts sort of floating there. Hit the dome. And I was like, how come you never see the camera looking up and the blue sky fading to black? How come it's always the ground? And he was like, oh, that's a good point. And then in his next video, he mentioned it, and he didn't give me any love or say, hey, check out this guy, you know, the Bilderberg Group, www.the-Bilderberg, BILDERBERG-group.com. Go check this guy out. He made a good song called Under the Dome. They got other good songs. Well, how come he didn't say that? I got this guy made me think about this. It's like he hadn't thought about it. And when he didn't give me the props, I reached out like, dude, come on, man. We're in the small community together. We got to support each other. You can't say something I said and then not fucking give me credit. Come on, dude. I share your shit all the time. What the hell? Which was, of course, the end of him talking to me. And at the same time, you know, the next video, he's also like holds up a piece of the Bible and says, you know, I think all of the answers we need are in this book right here. And like more and more parts of his video are starting to become religious. Men are the protectors and women are the keepers. And like he just starts to get a little weird. And he goes from being this guy who makes these amazing videos about, you know, proving that it's colder in the moonlight than in the shade. Like it's hotter if you stand in the sunlight than standing underneath a tree in the shade. It's colder if you stand in the moonlight than underneath the shade. He proved it. Talk about an amazing video that then like spiked with the religious nonsense. It's so screwed up. And then there's another hiatus. And the next time he appears, he's on a mountain somewhere in like South Dakota or South Carolina, something like that. And now he's got a woman who has a kid. I don't know. Like, it's just weird that all of a sudden this is happening. And he's talking about, you know, some kind of weirder stuff. He's not doing the dry erase board thing that got him where he was. And, you know, he sort of makes these weird videos for a minute. And then he comes back and he's got, he's all cleaned up. Cut his hair, shaved his beard, sitting in a suit and tie, or sitting in a button down and a tie, and it's a GoFundMe video where him and somebody else created this force the line experiment where they're going to it's a structure that's built that is along a stretch of flat land. So they need to buy a stretch of flat land or pay somebody that owns a stretch of flat land to set up this experiment, preferably by a road or something, so you could, you could charge people. I mean, you could actually make it like a ride if you wanted to. You could actually make money off the thing. But whether you're a flat earther or you're a globe earther, this experiment will 100% prove without a shadow of a doubt whether it's round or flat. And all you need is a mile, but if you could get a 3-mile section, it would be even better. The experiment is you place bars, you set a bunch of steel or wood or whatever. I mean, at first, if you're making the initial version, the cheapest way possible, you can use wood or whatever, but you get a bunch of pillars, space them 10 feet apart or whatever the distance is. 10 feet would be easy because you're going to be using horizontal pillars across the top of the experiment, all set at 10 feet across the top. The other, the bottom, there's another layer that's a horizontal layer that you measure 64 inches from the top, and you make that first one is level. The top's said to stay level the whole time, 10 feet, but the bottom one, you force a line. So you measure it at 64 inches, or you measure maybe 64 inches from the top, whatever. You force the line to go along with the curve of the earth if it's there. And at the end of the mile, you'll see that if it's flat, well then, if the earth is flat, because you can't have large flat spaces like that on a globe. It doesn't really work that well. But if it's flat, then you'll see no difference in the line. It'll stay flat. If it's round, then the second line will get closer to the top line. And the farther you can make the experiment, if you could make it 3 miles, you would see a tremendous drop. You should see a tremendous drop in this experiment, in the pillars. So Brian puts out this video, asking for like $100,000. And within days, the video has 1 million views, whatever, and well over $300,000 has been donated. Maybe my numbers are wrong, but it's a significant amount more than what he asked for has been donated. So you would think, like, this is where the story gets good, right? Well, this is where a couple days later, once the goal is reached and then surpassed, all of a sudden the GoFundMe is taken down. All of his videos are taken down. All of his pages are taken down. And there's no mention of him anywhere. Like, he's gone. He has people all over the world that have invested in him. They care about him. They're going, dude, hey, where'd you go, man? Are you okay? Like, they're trying to, but there's no way to even, communicate with him. And there are people that are talking about it, at least back then. This is maybe 2017. Because all this happened in a relatively short time. It was still 2016, I believe. It hadn't even gone the full year. Maybe, I don't know. No, I don't think it had. I think it was just like August of that year or something, where maybe June or July, somewhere in the summer of that year is when he disappeared. And I remember looking back, like looking at his Facebook page. When I first got his Facebook page, I remember thinking, like, if I was trying to trick people into believing somebody was real and I was going to create a Facebook page for them, this is what I would create. A picture of him at work, a picture of him like on a ATV or something like that, or on a Jeep, a picture of him at his desk. Like there's like maybe, and once you're friends with them, there's still only like, I don't know, 6-10 pictures, something like that. And it's almost like all of the pictures were taken on the same day or within the same few days. You know, he doesn't change very much. You know, he looks the same in all the pictures. Just kind of, you know, these are things that you look back on that you noticed when it happened, but you thought it so was. You noticed when it happened, but you wanted to believe it so bad that you overlooked it. Like with Ken O'Keefe, you know, there were lots of little things that you overlook because you want to believe what he's saying. And another guy that, you know, sure does disappear. And so now you have this Brian Mullin guy who is, you know, he has some real big fame potential. Like his numbers coupled with his personality, his demeanor and all that, like they weren't really rivaled by anybody. He had some really fantastic numbers. You know, for him to get the amount of money he got from the GoFundMe, and just by the time, you know, before he had taken his videos down, when he would put up a video, it would have thousands of views within hours. You know, he had a really big following, and to this day, if you watch, you know, flat earth stuff, I hate saying earth-shape argument stuff, lots of times it'll have clips of his work in it that people were able to salvage. But all of his stuff was taken down and there was no word. And months would go by, and suddenly there's a bounty out where people are saying, look, all we want, we'll pay Brian $5,000. I might have went to $10,000. I know it was at $5,000 at one point. I'm thinking it went to $10,000. We'll pay $5,000, $10,000 if Brian will just take a picture of himself holding the day's newspaper, so people can see the date, and we just know you're alive, dude. We will pay you $5,000 to know that you're alive. If we know you're alive, and you say, look, I want to be left alone, then we'll leave you alone. But we'll pay you $5,000 to tell us you're alive and to leave you alone. And nothing happened. And then this picture comes out that's supposedly him and his wife and her kid, their kid, at some sort of place where he's like got his arm around, like it's almost like they're at a banquet or something like that. But the picture that's released immediately falls to scrutiny. And it's clearly a manipulated image. The hands aren't right, like people that know how to scrutinize photographs tear the picture to shit and show that it's a fake photo. And at the same time, you have some guy who claims to know Brian and says that the reason why he took everything down is because his wife wanted him to. His new wife. This woman that he supposedly met within the 6 months that all this took place. He met her shortly after he had started the videos. This woman has a man who is literally going to change the world. He will go down in history forever as somebody who changed what we thought the world was. Either confirmed without a shadow of a doubt that it's round and nobody can ever say anything again, or that it's flat. And it was lucrative. You know, they could have made it a ride. They could have made it an attraction where they charged people and people would have paid to do it. $10 to drive the 3 miles, whatever it is. People would have done that shit. They could have made a lot of money. He would have been infamous, famous for all of eternity. He would have been somebody people remember. And instead of supporting her man in this, she demands he takes it down. And he does it. Over a woman he just barely knows, he just recently met, who has a kid, so there's baby daddy drama. He you know, as a content creator myself, again, there's nothing I can imagine. Like my wife and I, my wife of 17 years, 18 years, I can't remember. She couldn't get me to quit doing, especially if I was getting more than like one viewer right now. She couldn't get me to stop. She wouldn't even want to, because she knows this is who I am. She supports me, and my wife's not the most supportive, but she supports me on my has to sit here and talk. Now, maybe it would be different if there were lots of people, but again, there wasn't a negative. Like, there's no videos of people walking up to Brian in public, hey, Brian, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't exist. And so the guy also says that there's a flat earth convention coming up or something soon that Brian's going to attend, and don't worry, Brian's fine. He's going to... That thing comes and goes, and Brian never attends. And the last time I looked, he worked... He apparently got a job. He apparently went back into engineering and got a job at this company that had some crazy name, like this weird, pizza-like name. It was like Saw Kids or something like that, but it was one word, and it was something weird where you just go, that's just a weird name for an engineering company. But and it was, I'm way off saying Saw Kids. I'm just saying it was some sort of weird play on words name. And they have, a bunch of engineers that work there. And all of the engineers have your standard profile picture where they're sitting with their suit and tie on, and it's like from here, and they're smiling, and then they have their bio, and they've done this, blah blah blah. And this is how you contact them if you want to, want their services. Brian's picture is like him walking into a door or something like that. Like, it's a full body picture. It's all grainy and looks like somebody took a picture of a picture. And it's all the other people have the same thing. And then he has this weird thing, this weird picture. And his bio is like super short, and there's no link to contact him. And then if you try to contact anybody at this place, none of it's real. Like, you can't call the number, you can't, nothing. And I'm going to try looking him up real quick. Brian Mullin. And it's weird, his name is Mullin. As much as it hurts and you hate to hear them cry, they're crying because you're leaving, so that means they love you a lot. Yeah, but he loves you too. That's the good part. So I looked him up, Brian Mullin. It's not Mullen, it's not Mullins, it's Mullin. Let's see, there are several. Who's this guy? Let's see. Brian Mullin. Nope, that's not him. He looks chosen to me, though. But that's not him. Brian Mullin. Oh, security verification check. Fuck you, LinkedIn. Brian Mullin. Oh, that's another LinkedIn. Sorry. Brian Mullin. Instagram page. Let's see. Oh, no, that's that same guy from before. Queer theater. So, queer theater maker. American in London. So, acquiring that Madonna accent more and more every day. So the Brian Mullin that you look up now does look similar to him. Looks like a very chosen guy. Oh, there's an actual picture of him. There's the actual picture of him. Hey, that's the picture I'm talking about. Where everybody else is. So let's see. Brian Mullin, PE, Senior Structural Engineer at Airate Engineers, PLCC. Let's see. Airate Engineers, A-R-E. Let's see. Airate Engineering. Homepage, Airate Engineers. Providing structural engineering services to the bridge, commercial, and residential sector. Let's see. Services, projects, structural assessment, structural engineering, bridge engineering. Let's see. Let's see if I can find some pictures of our boy here. This is the projects. Adam, Shawn. Okay, so the Blowing Rock office is a P.O. box in North Carolina. The Morganton office is another one in North Carolina. So he went to the Carolinas. About. Let's check out the About section. Who we are. Through our God-given talents, education, and experiences, we strive to serve our clients and employees with excellence and an attitude of partnership. T. Shawn Asul, P-E-C-B-S-I. Janet Asul, P.B. Adam Femline. Brian Mullin. All right, let's read Brian Mullin's. There he is. So they've cleaned things up a little bit. Let's see. Read bio. Brian has over 12 years of civil and structural engineering experience in transportation, commercial, industrial, telecommunications, and residential sectors. He has an extensive experience working with city and state agencies as well as architects, developers, and contractors. He is currently a professional engineer licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and Virginia. In the summer of 2017, Brian successfully completed the FHWA NHI 13,005 safety inspection of in-service highway bridges to become a certified bridge safety inspector. Man, that's crazy. I wonder how he did that since he was busy doing other things. Brian graduated with a BS in civil engineering from the University of North Florida in 2007. After graduation, he went to work for private consulting firms performing construction, engineering, inspection, CEI of bridge and toll facility expansions in the Central Florida area. He quickly changed directions to focus on structural engineering and design for high-speed open-road tolling facilities, public buildings, municipal utility sites, and fleet maintenance structures throughout the state of Florida. In 2012, Brian moved into the private sector, designing new buildings and modifying existing structures for commercial clients such as Publix supermarkets and LA Fitness. Brian returned to the public sector in 2014, where he became the structural engineering department manager for a consulting firm which specializes in open road tolling facilities serving Florida's Turnpike Enterprise and the Florida Department of Transportation. Since joining Airate Engineers in the fall of 2016. So just after all of this went down, he lands here. He has been primarily focusing on structural engineering and design of commercial and residential sources. He also assists in the inspection of bridges for NC DOT. Brian currently lives in Lenore, North Carolina. So you have this huge bio of this guy, not huge, but you have this sort of extensive bio of this guy up until 2017 when he completed the safety inspection thing to become a certified bridge inspector. And he joined this company in 2016. It's 2023 and he has nothing to note. Let's hear the guy below him is Tristan Samarjan, originally from France. Tristan moved to USA in 2012 to pursue a Master of Science in Structural Engineering at Texas A&M. He worked for 3 years doing commercial structures in Houston before making the switch to residential engineering, where he designed a couple hundred remodeling projects and performed structural assessments. Tristan is a licensed structural engineer and joined Air Rate in June 2020. So at least we got one from 2020. Eager to get away from the big city and get to there. His wife Elizabeth made the move to Houston to Boone. Outside of work, Tristan is looking forward to taking full advantage of the area, going hiking and snowboarding. Martin Russ. It's funny, he actually has, so Brian seemingly has a longer bio than everybody else, but only prior to 2016. So here's another one that, began his work in 2017. Nothing that says anything about anything later. David Thornton, spring of 2018. Nothing after that. Turner Tviti began working in 2015. 2018, he was responsible for the fabrication of over a dozen FRP, fiber reinforced polymer pedestrian truss bridges. 2017, more 2017. William Holyfield, University 2019. 2019, began working in 2020. Okay, 2020 seems to be Jamie Coleman began working there 2018. Nothing since. And this Guin Thai, in the spring semester of 2020, she was a part of Appalachian State. Yeah, nothing later than 2020 on her. Brenlin Moore joined the team in April of 2021. All right, we've got somebody from April 2021. Okay. Mason Baumgartner, 2018, 2019. Michael Weissman Floyd. He's just the old guy. So let's see. Shawn Ausul, 20 years, 2019, 2011. Okay, nothing. 22 years of experience, 2003, 2005, 2010, 2017. Nope. Adam Flemley, licensed professional engineer with over 15 years. 2015, nothing about anything done. So absolutely none of these people on this engineering page have anything to do with any projects from any earlier than 2018. I wonder what happens if I call.
Hello, this is Shawn with Airgate Engineers. Please leave a message.
Hello, this is Shawn with Airgate Engineers. Please leave a message. So when I call the number at the top of this supposed company, it takes me to the personal voicemail or answering machine of Shawn Azul. Isn't this like a company? Shouldn't it be like, welcome to Area 8 Engineers? You know, we're not available at the moment. It's the weekend. It's our hours if you need to contact us. Like, shouldn't there be anything other than, hi, this is Shawn with Area 8 Engineers. Please leave a message. Huh? Not quite. 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left. How y'all doing? Well, you know it's good for that.
Yeah, this hat smells like Papa's house. Oh no!
I was already using it, dude.
What? Dang it.
So, you know how strange it is to do this and to risk being wrong? I could have easily called that number and it would have said, you know, it could have been exactly what it should have been, which is, you know, this is a company. Thank you for calling this company.
Hello, this is Shawn with Area 8 Engineers. Please leave a message.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
What kind of company has a, I guess, voicemail? Is that voicemail? It sounds like an answering machine. No, it's actually voicemail, I guess, with the way it works. But what kind of company has that as their voicemail message? That's not a that's like a personal thing. And it just happens to be the number one guy's personal. That's just weird. Almost like it's to cover up for Brian Mullin. But what do I know? I'm just crazy. Crazy. So now this time, instead of ringing 2 or 3 times like it did the first time, it rang once. I know it's Saturday. I get that it's Saturday, so, but like this is a multi-million-dollar engineering firm that deals in bridges and if you believe it, I have a bridge to sell you in Manhattan. Funny that works, huh? Boy, is that strange. Boy, is that coincidentally strange. I could have been. It's so interesting how often this happens, where I could be wrong. It's not like I check it out beforehand, and I put, you know, my reputation on the line. I could look like a total dumbass if something else happens. But what ends up happening actually adds to my story. Multi-million-dollar company has a voicemail for one particular dude, the dude at the top, the super chosen guy. Gosh, is that just crazy? And again, every single one of these people, the newest one started in 2021, so that seems like that may be the last time they updated it. But most of everybody but that one guy hadn't done anything in that company since 2018 worth noting. And even then, it wasn't like they were doing much projects. Let's see. Oh, it is. He's calling me back. He's calling back.
Hello, this is Sean with Arte. Sorry I missed a call from me.
I'm just wondering why this multi-million-dollar company would have a voicemail that goes straight to one guy. That seems weird, doesn't it? There's no answering service or anything?
Well, I appreciate that you think we're a multi-million-dollar company.
You would be if you're...
What project is this in regards to? What are you calling about?
Well, I was investigating where Brian Mullin is because there's a lot of people that are concerned about him. And
Brian Mullin was abducted by aliens.
see, of course you can make jokes about it because you
Yeah.
don't have anything else to say. Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's great. That is great. You just made my live video absolutely worth it. Exclamation point. Thank you for proving the point. Period. Not only did you just prove that the company is a fraud, but you are as well, and everybody's right. Period. If you really were sick of dealing with people like me, comma, which I'm sure that's your other excuse, comma, you would handle things better. Period. You would have at least a little bit of information. Period. You would shut people up instead of stoking the fire. Comma, but again, thank you, comma, my live feed is so much better because of your arrogance. ... Typical chosen douchebag. That was awesome. That was awesome. If anybody wants to call that number, it's 828-434 0587. Can I comment on here? Won't let me comment. So yeah, 828-434-0587. That guy's name is Shawn, T period, Shawn, AUSEL. That went better than I expected. It went better than I expected. Like, really, I know a lot of people would get mad about that, and maybe it would make for a decent video. But at the end of the day, the inability to handle the conversation, you know, the forced, stupid comment, and then the hanging up real quickly, that says more than like lots of things. He doesn't even have the opportunity to maybe prove me wrong, or maybe point out something stupid that I said, or whatever. He goes right off the bat saying that he has nothing to bring to this conversation. May I ask what this is in regards to? You already know what it's in regards to. Why? Again, tell me why this company. So you're telling me this company, Air Raid Engineers, who, let's see, they're bridge engineering. They engineer bridges and shit. Mountains to Sea Trail Bridge. The Mountains to Sea Trail Bridge needed crossing over the Boone Fork Creek. Oh, there's actually... This is just, it's nothing. Some little thing out in the middle of nowhere. Let's see this one. Retaining wall, the soil nail retaining wall. Air Raid Engineers has completed designs and plans for concrete soil nail retaining wall facings like the retaining wall across the street from our Blowing Rock office. That is the project overview. Go to another engineering page and look up their project overview and see if it's just a touch more detailed. Remember, this company is trying to sell you business. Oh, that's what I thought was strange. Okay. So look at the name. Well, you guys can't see it because it's backwards. So Air Raid Engineers. What is Air Raid? What is that? It's clearly not the like the name of the guy that answers the phone, the main guy. If you look at it, it says info at ARETENGINEERS. Arteen Engineer, Arteen. Arteen. I just thought it was strange that there was something that was associated with children if you stepped back from it. Arteen Engineering. Like, that's fucking strange, isn't it? What a coincidence. What another coincidence, I guess. Let's see. So these guys are building all of these little trusses, and so the people that they're bringing in have these huge engineering backgrounds and all this other shit. Bridge was constructed using recycled beams from a decommissioned NC steel stringer bridge. The top chord is constructed from I-beams which are cut to form WT shapes. Special design considerations were incorporated to adequately brace the top flange using the floor beams and vertical member. That's it. That's it. That's the overview. These guys have 2 offices. Their website says they have 2 offices. And yet you call and it says, "Hey, this is Shawn with Air raid engineers, please leave a message. That sounds like a professional engineering company's voicemail. Hello, you've reached Air raid engineers. You know, I mean, the fact that it says it goes, and then when he said something, I said, you know, it has to do with Brian Mullin and the fact that a lot of people care about him and want to know if he's alive. And his response is, Brian was abducted by aliens. Disrespectful shit, you know. If people were wondering if I was alive, I wouldn't, you know. What is this company? What is this company? Veteran-owned small business. Oh, he's a veteran. Go figure. Michelle 16, SR 19 over North Toe of the French Bridge Road. The overview is nothing. There is no overview for that one. They have 5 projects that you can check out. Oh, Lake James Covered Bridge Trail. Did we already do this one? Lake James Covered Bridge provides a crossing over a tributary to Lake James for a new mountain bike trail system. The steel stringer bridge and the bridge abutments are supported by helical piles. That's that. That's their services. Structural engineering. Let's see what they do for structural engineering. Waguda Sign Foundation. Air provided design services for 41. See, now we actually get some numbers here. For 41 proposed sign structures consisting of up to 4 different sign types. Signs to be installed across Waguda County to give directions to different points of interest within the county. Drafting and visual design completed by Destination by Design. Structural design includes thickness of main vertical post, design of horizontal members, design of connections, and footing foundation design. We worked with the manufacturer to switch the main vertical post from steel to aluminum. We inspected the foundation holes and rebar to ensure proper installation. That's that. Couple of pictures. Like, this is strange. Treehouse Village. Air raid engineers provided structural engineering and construction documents for 6 individual whimsical tree houses with varying elevated bridges, walkways between them. The project is located on the slope side of the mountain in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. The tree houses and elevated bridges, walkways were conventionally framed with lumber and supported by black locust log columns. So, they've got a job in Tennessee. They're in North Carolina, and they're going to Tennessee for a job. Okay. 3-story cliff deck. I mean, again, all of these are just like little fucking nothing stories. Water services. So wait a minute. The water services are just a combination of the first 2 services. So bridge engineering, structural engineering, right? Those are their own thing. Each have their own bunch of pictures and things. Structural, and then water services is a combination of those two things. Engineering services, I clicked on structural assessment, and it took me to a request form where I give them my first and last name, email, phone number. Is the client information different from above? That's all they want to know is my name, email address, and phone number. Oh no, that's step 1 of 4, so maybe there's more to it after that. But that's the services provided projects. So now I clicked on projects and it goes right back to the same. It's probably 10 pictures. Blog, let's see what the blog has to say. Oh shit, we've got something. FEMA permitting study for bridge replacement. February 21st, 2023. Water resources. No impact study. A hydrology and hydrological study is required if an obstruction, a bridge for example, is planned to be constructed within the floodway of a FEMA detailed study area. What? Any obstruction, including fill material, retaining walls, buildings, pavilions, to name a few, will require FEMA permitting. The obstruction that we are going to talk about is related to bridges. A hydraulic study will ultimately determine the flow of cubic feet per second of the stream or rivers of various storm return intervals. For example, a 100-year storm might produce 300,000 feet per second. And a 50-year storm may produce 75 feet per second of flow. Hydraulic, I think, like, what? So these guys are working with FEMA. These guys hired Brian Mullin, the flat earth guy. Okay, so joint elimination presentation. This is the first one. Preservation at the National Bridge Preservation Partnership Conference, joint elimination as a preservation technique. This is a PDF you can download. No thanks. Aerate approved as NC. Private consulting firm. Private consulting firm, NC. North Carolina Department of Transportation. Aerate has been approved as a private consulting firm by the North Carolina Department of Transportation for the following disciplines. Bridges spans over 200 pre-construction. Bridges spans under 200 pre-construction. MBIS, Municipal Bridge Inspection, State Bridge Management. Load testing and finite analysis, State Bridge Management. Load rating, State Bridge Management. So, again, this is some guy who has it go directly to his personal phone. There's no answering service, no secretary, no nothing. Small professional services firm. Aerate receives approval. Sorry about that. Aerate receives approval as small professional services firm, SPSF, with North Carolina Department of Transportation. We go from, it's October 2nd, 2015, October 2nd, 2015. The joint elimination presentation was on September 30th, 2014, which there's nothing there. And then suddenly in October 2nd of 2015, just over a year, like literally September 30th, 31st, October 1st, October 2nd. So a year later, Air Raid Engineers is approved as a North Carolina Department of Transportation private firm and as a small professional services firm with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. October 13th, so it's 11 days later. This is fascinating. Air Raid Engineers has been selected to provide services for the department under the Structures Management Unit Limited Services Contract for 2015 Structures Management Support Limited Service Contract by North Carolina Department of Transportation Professional Services Management Unit. This seems like some big shit. This seems like shit that you would kind of want, the structures, the structured management units, the contract. Okay, so that's 11 days later. So now we go from October 13th, 2015 to March 11th, 2019. So for 4 years, they didn't do shit. 3.5 years. And then suddenly, so just before Brian Mullin, and then once people started looking into it, what did I tell you? It started in like 2018, 2019, when the rumors of him working at that place was, well, Martin Russ at Spratt Training. Martin Russ, one of our bridge inspection team members, attended a Society of Professional Rope Access Technicians rope access training last week. Martin's skills as a rock climber, along with his certification, will allow our team. He learned modern rope access techniques when he climbed with equipment produced. When he combined with equipment produced and an exceptionally safe, versatile, efficient, and cost-effective way to solve vertical bridge access problems for our clients. Now we jump again to January 27th, 2022. What kind of engineers design bridges? I had this exact question to me asked when I was a young man in the Army. Unfortunately, my father worked as a construction inspector for highway construction projects, and he was able to direct me to someone who helped me in my journey. There you go, keeping it in the family. I found out which schools had engineering programs, and I learned that most colleges do not offer engineering degrees. To answer the question, what kind of engineers design bridges? In short, the answer is civil engineers primarily design bridges. Although civil engineers primarily design bridges, other engineering disciplines may also be involved with bridge design. For example, mechanical engineers are well versed in the behavior of materials and stresses. The civil engineering field includes many disciplines, including geotechnical, hydraulic, structural, transportational, environmental. Structural engineering is the discipline under the civil engineering umbrella which focuses on bridge design. The science of structural engineering involves the quantitative approach to determining loads, demand, and the quantitative approach of materials' ability to support the load's capacity. Balancing demand and capacity is the mission of the bridge engineer. A well-designed bridge or any structure should use minimal materials, thereby reducing costs while meeting appropriate codes to provide a safe and long-lasting structure. It's been said, anyone can design a bridge, but an engineer can design the most economical bridge. Never heard that. What type of degree do you need to obtain a civil engineering degree? One must enroll in an accredited engineering program. Most of the more prominent flagship universities and many private colleges have engineering programs. Didn't he just say that they don't have engineering programs? In addition, interns, he just said it. I found out which programs. I learned that most colleges do not offer engineering degrees. Okay. Most of the more prominent flagship state universities and many private colleges have engineering programs. In addition, internships are available to students during the summer, allowing students to obtain valuable experience prior to graduation. Then, for students who go on to graduate school to receive a master's degree, there are many opportunities to work for the universities and continue with various internships. Becoming a licensed civil engineer, a Bachelor of Science degree in civil engineering is usually required to be eligible to sit for the Professional Engineers or PE exam. The PE exam is a comprehensive 8-hour exam. In addition to passing the PE exam, a candidate must also work a licensed PE for a minimum of 4 years. Some states do not allow holders of engineering technology degrees to sit for the PE exam. If one wants to obtain licensure, contact the state engineering board to see if any engineering degree other than a Bachelor in Science in Engineering meets the requirement to sit for the PE exam. Where do bridge engineers work? I'm almost done with this one. This one's kind of boring. Bridge engineering is a rewarding profession because we all use bridges. Bridges are the intersection of society and nature when crossing waterways and other natural crossings. Bridges make our world closer to make our world closer together and create safer and more efficient conditions. They make our world closer together. Okay. Many of our projects are trail bridges that allow access to remote wilderness locations. Whether it's an interstate with 100,000 vehicles per day or a remote trail bridge with only 2 pedestrians per day, the same engineering principles govern the design of each. But the thing is, they didn't show any of those interstate bridges that they worked on. It was always just like tiny little things. Now that you have a deeper understanding of what kind of engineer designs bridges, you can contact A Year's engineering team to learn more about our services and how to help you with your next project. Effects of cracks in concrete structures. June 21st, 2022. February 21st, 2022. What factors do engineers consider when designing a bridge? Let's see if they mention it. Engineers must consider many factors when designing a bridge. The purpose of this article is to educate you on 8 principal areas that are required when developing a bridge. Continue reading to learn more about the area engineers team, what the area engineers team considers when designing a bridge. 8 factors engineers consider when designing a bridge. As engineers, we are commonly asked, what factors do you consider when designing a bridge? To accurately answer the question, you need to understand the pieces that go into the project. The following 8 areas or disciplines are necessary when first beginning a bridge project: survey, geotechnical engineering, civil engineering, FEMA permitting, hydrology and hydraulics and environment, traffic engineering, right-of-way, utility coordination, bridge safety, or bridge engineering. Survey, developing a detailed survey of the existing topography is essential to all engineers involved in the project. Engineers require a complete study before any preliminary engineering work can begin. 2. Geotechnical engineering. Once establishing the bridge location, the geotechnical engineer will locate where to take the surface soil borings. Then a drill will go to the site and an auger into the soil to predefined depth or bedrock. The purpose is to obtain the required primary soil data for the geotechnical engineer to determine the type of bridge foundation required. 3. Civil engineering. The civil engineering is responsible for designing the roadway. They will provide the roadway elevations along with the horizontal and vertical curve information. The civil engineer prepares a cross section of the road so the contractor will understand how much fill is necessary to build the roadway approaches for the bridge. FEMA permitting and environmental. When the bridge crosses a significant waterway, the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, will complete a detailed flood study at the proposed bridge site. There are 2 potential scenarios FEMA will follow. The first scenario, if the proposed bridge replaces an existing bridge, the hydraulic engineer will determine if they can obtain a no impact. To achieve a no impact, the hydraulic engineer must prove that the proposed bridge does not increase the 100-year floodplain by using the FEMA model. The second scenario, if a no impact is not obtainable, they will need to require a letter of map revision. LOMR is the process of changing the FEMA flood maps and can become expensive and lengthy. So if it doesn't work, you can pay them to change the maps to make it work. Traffic engineering. For a bridge going over a public road, the engineer will need to study and evaluate current and future traffic. They will also need to assess the roadway geometry to design the bridge accordingly. This part is usually not necessarily necessary for smaller or private bridges. Right of way. In some situations, the roadway width or the alignment may change due to the proposed construction. If this occurs, acquiring property may be necessary to complete the project. 7. Utility coordination. An engineer may sometimes need to relocate utilities to make way for the proposed construction. 8. Bridge engineering. The bridge engineer is responsible for the design of the bridge. They will consider the several factors during this step: foundation type, structure, substructure type, superstructure type, bearing type, deck type, bridge rail type. Conclusion: the factors engineers consider when designing a bridge, along with evaluating the above 8 areas of bridge design, the engineers will need to consider the following questions. Should a multi-span bridge have simple spans or should it be continuous? Is it possible to make the beams intergray with the substructure? How to deal with thermal expansion? What would the maximum design load truck be? Ultimately, the engineer reviews all the information discussed above, analyzes the bridge concerning the dead loads, the weight of the bridge, the live loads, traffic, and the environmental loads, snow loads and wind loads, when designing a bridge. Then all of the noted factors will be developed into a model to size all the bridge elements. Area engineers can be a part of your next bridge project. Now that you know the factors, engineers continue, just contact us. Area, we regularly provide bridge engineering services for Department of Transportation, municipal and private clients. So we are ready to design your next bridge. Yet again, they have no actual, like they have these. That was February 1st, 2002, February 2nd, 2002. Learn about hiring a structural engineer for retaining walls. When to contact a structural engineer for cracking walls, February 3rd, 2002. Building surveyor as versus structural engineer, February 8th, 2002. Learn about structural analysis, engineer's responsibilities, February 15th, 2022. When I was saying 2002, I meant 22. The importance of structural engineering and building design, like, it just picks up. They have a bunch of these blog posts, but they don't actually have, like, any work they do. It's just more, do you need a, like, look at these. um, value engineering, and structural engineering, building design, what to know about substructure, infrastructure engineering, significant value of substructure engineering, home inspection. What do you need a substructure engineer? When do you need a substructure engineer? Types of cracks in concrete structures, repair and rehabilitation of bridges, structural engineering, building inspection. What is a building engineer? Do I need one? How much does structural engineering cost? Architect versus engineer versus contractor. Foundation inspection by substructure engineer. Do you need a commercial substructure? What do substructural engineers do? How much is a substructural engineer's inspection? Concrete bridge inspections. And this is just May 30th, 22. May 31st, substructural engineer versus architect. Now we jump to June 21st. What kind of engineer builds bridges? Did I already read that one, or is that a different one? How are bridges engineered? June 24th. The cost of structural engineering, June 30th. Why invest in structural engineering when building a home? January 19th, 2023. FEMA permitting study for bridge replacement. February 21st, 2023. That's their blog. Available positions. If you are ready for a new challenge and want to be a part of a growing team, send your contact information and a resume to info@rteen engineering, bridge engineering and inspection. Comprehensive or competitive wage, 401k, health and life insurance, PTO and flex time, profit sharing bonuses. Wow, this is crazy. They're hiring. And that's that. That's the page. Recent work. Let's see what recent work is. Oh, is this what recent work is? Mountains to Sea Trail Bridge. Mountains to Sea Trail Bridge needed a crossing over the Boone Fork Creek about 1 mile from the Price Lake picnic area. This is where the Mountains to Sea Trail splits from the very popular Boone Fork Trail. The location for the bridge was selected at a point where rock outcroppings on either side of the Boone Fork Creek provided natural bridge supports, which were about 80 feet apart. The ideal bridge type for this remote location was a fiber-reinforced polymer FRP bridge. The bridge, scaffolding, and construction equipment was airlifted to the project site with a helicopter. The abutments were constructed first. This involved chipping away 3 feet of rock at the east end to seat the abutments below a fissure in the rock. Next, the scaffolding was constructed under the full length of the bridge. After the abutments and scaffolding was in place, the next step was to construct the bridge superstructure. The contractor was able to accomplish this in 4 days. Aerial structures provided the necessary construction documents and assembly instructions for the contractor to follow. 4 days. Oh, this is the same pictures from the other thing. Delivery, concrete, construction equipment, and other heavier materials can either be lifted by helicopter or carried by hand to the concrete site. Same looking pictures. Wow. So what is this? This is the Mountains to Sea Trail Bridge. Mountains to Sea Trail Bridge Fork Bridge construction. For those who hike the section of the Mountains to Sea near Blowing Rock have likely encountered the dangerous and seasonally impassable crossing at Boone Fork Creek. To remedy the problem, the Friends of North Carolina Mountains to Sea secured, our team, Mountains to Sea Trail, secured a grant of $200,000 to build a pedestrian bridge. The foundation will provide a match of $50,000 for construction and engineering costs to make this trail link to the Blue Ridge Parkway a safe and enjoyable hike. Construction will begin on this project in early 2016. So that's their recent work. Their recent work is from 2016 when Brian Mullin came. Wow. Oh, Mountains to Sea Trail Bridge opens. Here we go. And they didn't mention anything about air raid engineers. Notice that? Let's see if this one does. The High Country Press. Mountains to Sea Trail Bridge opens today, just in time for the WNC fall leaf hiking season. Published Monday, October 3rd, 2016. So the most recent project that Air Raid Engineers has on their page is finished October 3rd, 2016. I mean, this is like right when Brian sort of disappeared. A new 80-foot bridge across Boone Fork Creek on the Mountains to Sea Trail open near Blowing Rock. The view drew good. Just in time for the fall leaf season, a new 80-foot bridge was opened today for hikers to traverse the most scenic and rugged sections of the North Carolina Mountains to Sea Trail near Boone. The bridge was assembled in less than a month, with a helicopter being used to protect the environment and expedite the project by ferrying construction equipment. The bridge allows hikers to avoid knee-deep wading across Boone Fork Creek as the MST turns north from the popular Boone Fork Trail to Julian Price Memorial Park to cross Shoals Mill Road. The bridge will improve access to Price Park's backcountry campsite, one of only 3 backpack camping areas permitted along the entire Blue Ridge Lake Parkway. The $250,000 bridge was paid for with funds from the Federal Recreational Trails Program, administered by the NC Division of State Parks, and a John Wesley and Anna Hogden Haynes Foundation grant to the Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation. The project was managed by Friends of the Mountains to Sea Trail. The project contributes to the celebrations for the 100th anniversary of the National Park Service and North Carolina State Parks. The Boone Fork Bridge is the 3rd span completed along the MST this year. Others opened were the Hillsboro, blah blah. It's been a year. It has been the year of bridges, said this chick. The Boone Fork Bridge is one of the most likely improvements. Is one of many recent improvements for hikers between Linville and Blowing Rock. Yeah. Oh, here we go. They actually get mentioned here. Air Raid Engineers of Boone was designer and construction supervisor for the bridge. The bridge components were manufactured by Strongwell Corporation of Bristol, Virginia. NHM Constructors of Asheville constructed the bridge. Well, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think of what you just witnessed, experienced. I found that to be fascinating and extremely telling. And I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to call that number. 828-434-0587. Call him. Ask for Brian. Thanks.